Seen through the lens of his background, Mayor Eric Adams' deal isn't a shocking departure from the norm, but an extension of it. Cops, especially those who climb the ranks, exist within a parallel justice system where consequences are negotiable. Misconduct is met with administrative reshuffling, and punishment often looks like a taxpayer-funded vacation. The idea that Adams would approach federal corruption charges the same way a cop might handle an internal affairs investigation, by cutting a deal, leaning on relationships, and walking away with a mild reprimand, feels less like an anomaly and more like muscle memory. From a patrol officer navigating the blue wall of silence to a police captain mastering bureaucratic survival, Adams spent decades in a system where accountability was a suggestion, not a requirement. Why should federal prosecution be any different? His instinct wasn't to fight the charges on legal grounds, but to negotiate his way out, offering a policy shift the way an officer might offer to take a remedial training program. The logic is eerily familiar. Let me go and I'll make your problem disappear. In this case, the problem wasn't a rogue cop but an inconveniently prosecuted mayor, and the solution wasn't resignation but compliance with Trump's agenda. The brazenness of the deal, the sheer openness of trading policy for freedom, might feel shocking in a vacuum, but it fits neatly into a broader tradition of law enforcement exceptionalism. Police unions secure sweetheart deals that shield officers from meaningful punishment. High-ranking officials manipulate investigations, lose critical evidence, or spin public narratives to minimize damage. And at the highest levels, the real game isn't about proving innocence or guilt, it's about deciding which rules apply and to whom. Adams didn't just benefit from this system, he helped build it. This also explains why SDNY rejected the deal outright, while Bove and Trump's DOJ found it palatable. To actual prosecutors, justice is supposed to be independent of political horse trading, at least in theory. But to law and order hardliners who view governance as a transactional game, what's the issue? If Adams is willing to be useful, why waste the effort prosecuting him? Law enforcement and politics have long been intertwined in precisely this way. Loyalty, obedience, and utility often matter more than legality. Trump, who has always admired the tough guy ethos of cops and strongmen, likely saw Adams as a valuable acquisition rather than a liability. The great irony, of course, is that Adams spent his career branding himself as a reformer, an outsider willing to take on corruption within the NYPD. And yet, when faced with personal accountability, he leaned not on reform, but on the same quiet deal-making that has let countless officers off the hook. He didn't transcend the system, he proved its core lesson, that justice is flexible for those with the right connections. In the end, Adams didn't need to be above the law. He just needed to convince the right people that enforcing it wasn't worth the trouble.